Karen calls the police on me for violating HOA rules and gets fined instead. After a long-awaited vacation, I finally arrived home, ready to relax. But as I pulled into my driveway, something immediately felt off. My 2018 Toyota Camry 70 was exactly where I had left it. Yet an HOA notice was slapped onto my windshield. Bold letters declaring that my car was too old for the neighborhood. I frowned. Too old? It was a perfectly good car. And more importantly, it was on my property. Before I could process the absurdity, a sharp voice sliced through the air.
Finally! Took you long enough to get back.
I turned to see Karen standing in her usual self-important stance, arms crossed, a smug grin on her face. "What's your problem now, Karen?" I sighed, already exhausted from this nonsense.
Your car.
She said, gesturing toward it like it was a pile of trash.
It's an eyesore. The HOA has strict rules about the quality of vehicles in our neighborhood. Yours doesn't meet the standards.
I chuckled in disbelief. Karen, it's a 2018 model. It's not a rusted-out clunker. And oh yeah, it's on my own damn property. Karen's expression darkened.
Rules are rules. If you don't remove it, I'll report you for non-compliance.
I crossed my arms. Go ahead, call whoever you want. I'm not moving my car just because you think you run this neighborhood. Her eyes narrowed. Without another word, she whipped out her phone and dialed.
Yes, hello. I need an officer dispatched immediately. There's a vehicle violating HOA guidelines and the owner is refusing to comply. It's causing a disturbance.
I stood there watching in amusement as she dramatically painted me as a criminal. 15 minutes later, a police car pulled up. The officer, a tall man in his early 40s, stepped out and adjusted his belt. "All right, what seems to be the issue?" he asked, already looking tired of whatever nonsense he was about to deal with. Karen put on her best concerned citizen act.
Officer, this man is refusing to comply with HOA vehicle regulations. His car is too old and it's lowering property values.
The officer turned to me. "Is this car yours?" I nodded. "Yes, officer, it's parked on my private property and there are no actual HOA regulations about car models. Karen just made this up." The officer sighed and pulled out his notepad. "Ma'am, do you have any official HOA documents stating that this vehicle violates any written rules?" Karen hesitated.
Well, I mean, it's common knowledge that...
"No, ma'am, I need an actual regulation. Is there one?" She was silent. The officer flipped his notebook closed. "Right. In that case, you've just wasted police resources on a false report. That's a finable offense." Karen's face turned bright red.
What? But no, he's the problem.
The officer was already writing out the ticket. "You're being fined for misusing emergency services. Next time, don't call the police for petty HOA disputes." Karen was fuming as the officer handed her the citation. I, on the other hand, couldn't help but smirk. "Have a great day, Karen," I said, unlocking my front door. She stood there speechless while the officer returned to his patrol car. From that day forward, Karen never tried to enforce another imaginary rule again.